Welcome to Rostra Precision Control's Ultra Cruise 2 installation video. For the next 15 minutes, we will provide you with the necessary information for quick and easy installation of our state-of-the-art electric cruise control system. Enclosed in your Ultra Cruise 2 kit, you'll find an installation and owner's manual, as well as a technical information guide. From time to time, we will direct you to either one or both of these manuals. Also included in your kit is a complete set of parts which you will need in order to install the Ultra Cruise 2 system in your vehicle. Refer to your installation and owner's manual, checking to make sure that you have all the parts needed for proper installation. During this presentation, we will illustrate Ultra Cruise 2 installation for 3 different throttle types under the hood. The Ultra Cruise 2 is designed for use in most cars, light trucks, and vans. Your vehicle must have a vehicle speed sensor wire or an optional signal generator. If you have any questions, please consult the applicable application guide. To make the installation safer and easier for you, we will from time to time post warnings, cautions, and notes. We ask that you pay close attention to each of them throughout the presentation. We will do our best to tell you how to handle most vehicles, but you must depend on your own good judgment in other cases. Before you begin, take a look at your installation and owner's manual for a quick rundown of helpful hints. Good luck, and let's get started. In order for the cruise control to operate properly, the actuator assembly must be programmed for the vehicle on which it is to be installed. Programming switches must be set according to this chart, which can also be found in your installation manual. Switches 1 and 2 deal with gain or sensitivity. If your cruise control surges or is too sensitive, set gain to low or off. If it seems slow in controlling or responding to speed, set gain to high or on. For medium gain, set switch 1 to the off position and switch 2 to the on position. Switches 3, 4, 11, and 12 are speed signals and deal with pulses per mile or kilometer. To determine the correct settings, refer to this chart or the Vehicle Technical Information Guide. Switches 5 and 6 should be programmed to set the number of cylinders or RPM range of the engine. These settings will vary for automatic and manual transmission. Switch number 7 deals with the type of control switch. If using an open circuit control, switch must be in the off position. A normally closed circuit control should be set to the on position. If you're unsure whether your control switch is open or closed, check the label on the box containing the control switch. Switch number 8 is the setup timer, with on being high for fast motor speed and off being low for slow motor speed. Switch 9 refers to the type of transmission in your car, set to off for manual transmission and on for automatic transmission. And switch 10 deals with your VSS source. For square wave vehicle speed signal, set to the on position. For sine wave vehicle speed signal, set to off. If any of the switches need to be changed after cruise control installation, the control switch and the vehicle ignition switch must be in the off position. This allows the cruise control to properly reset. When mounting your actuator assembly, there are several locations which you should not consider. They are under the fender, under the vehicle, directly to the engine, with cable pointing downward, near sharp, hot, or moving objects, closer than 10 inches from the ignition coil, in the passenger compartment, or anywhere that it will interfere with service checks. When you have selected an appropriate location, place the actuator assembly unmounted in that area and measure to make sure that the harness assembly will reach the actuator assembly and the cable assembly will reach the throttle attaching point. Next, we need to measure the throttle travel. With the engine off, measure the distance from the idle position to the wide open throttle position. Make a mark on the throttle cable when the throttle is in the idle position. Depress the accelerator pedal and make a mark on the throttle cable when the throttle is in the wide open position. Measure the distance between the two marks. If it's greater than 1 5/8 inches or 41 millimeters, proceed with installation. If the distance is less than 1 5/8 inches, you must use a bead chain to provide the slack. Each bead in the chain will give you 1/8 of an inch of slack. If the distance is less than 1 1/4 inches, a 250-4198 throttle multiplier adapter must be used. This adapter is not supplied with a kit and must be purchased separately. Now we're ready to attach the cable assembly to the throttle. As mentioned before, we will show you throttle connections for 3 different vehicles. Set the pulley segment to an open throttle position and remove the throttle cable from the pulley. Hold the loop cable between the holes in each side of the pulley. Slide the barrel at the end of the throttle cable through the slotted hole, then through the loop cable and into the second hole. Connect the loop cable to the cable assembly using the bead chain connector, making sure to use the bead chain cover. To secure the loop cable to the throttle cable, punch a small hole in the bead chain cover and slide the 4-inch tie strap through the hole and secure it to the existing throttle cable. For a Ford vehicle throttle, select a tube clamp that fits the throttle cable. Make sure that the tabs of the tube clamp point away from the carburetor or air throttle to prevent the throttle from hanging. Attach cable assembly to the eyelet connector, making sure to use the bead chain cover. Place the designated screw through the holes in the tube clamp and slide the eyelet connector over the screw. Thread the designated nut onto the screw and tighten. For more specific information, refer to your installation guide. Many late-model General Motors and Chrysler vehicles can use the new 250-4242 slide throttle adapter. Locate the factory cruise control pin on the throttle pulley. Snap the slide clip onto the pin. Connect the slide cable to the cable assembly using a bead chain connector, making sure to use a bead chain cover. Refer to your installation manual if you have any questions. Here we will show you how to anchor the cruise control cable by using either a snap-in adapter or a threaded tube clamp. Before using the snap-in adapter, remove the adjustable sleeve from the cable assembly. To use the snap-in adapter, it will be necessary to form threads on the end of the cable assembly. This is easily accomplished by placing the 1/4-inch 20 nut on the end of the cable assembly with your fingers. Using a 7/16 inch or 11 mm box end wrench, turn clockwise until the desired amount of threads have been formed. After the threads have been formed, screw the snap-in adapter onto the cable assembly, making sure that the cable assembly extends beyond the end of the adapter. The snap-in adapter then snaps into the square hole of the extension bracket or snaps into an existing square hole on the vehicle, commonly found in GM vehicles. To use the threaded tube clamp, it will be necessary to form threads on the end of the cable assembly. This is easily achieved by first placing the 1/4-inch 20 nut on the end of the cable assembly with your fingers. Using a 7/16 inch or 11 mm box end wrench, turn clockwise until the desired amount of threads have been formed. After the threads have been formed, screw the threaded tube clamp onto the cable assembly. The threaded tube clamp may be used to anchor the cable assembly to the existing throttle cable bracket. In some cases, there may be an existing hole. The threaded tube clamp may also be used to anchor the cruise cable by using the extension bracket. Your harness assembly needs a 3/4 inch hole to pass through the bulkhead. If one is not available, drill, saw, or punch a 3/4 inch hole in the bulkhead. Straighten the harness assembly, locating and separating the 4-pin mating connectors, using a small screwdriver if needed. From the engine side, pass the 4-pin connector and violet-colored wire through the hole. If you did not hook up the blue tack wire and the gray VSS wire under the hood, pass them through to the inside as well. Next, reattach the 4-pin mating connectors and make the necessary wire connections. Seal the hole in the bulkhead with the sealing putty provided. The wires are color-coded according to their specific function. Black is ground, purple goes to the cold side of the brake switch, brown your accessory power, red goes to the hot side of the brake switch, blue indicates tachometer, and gray is your vehicle's speed sensor. Refer to your installation guide for specific wiring locations. Install the cruise control switch and lever assembly as instructed. And now for the moment you've been waiting for. We will lead you through the following diagnostic procedures in order to test the cruise control switch, the brake switch wiring, the vehicle speed sensor, and the tach input signals. These diagnostic procedures are diagrammed for you in your installation manual. First, turn the cruise control switch and the ignition switch to the off position. Press and hold the resume accelerate slide switch while you turn the ignition switch to the on position without starting the engine. Now release the resume accelerate slide switch. With certain open circuit cruise control switches, you will hold the resume accelerate button down while you turn the cruise control switch to the on position. At this time, the diagnostics LED should be off. If the LED is off, press and release the set coast button. The LED should light each time the button is pressed and go out when it's released. If not, refer to your installation manual and follow the recommended test steps. If so, press and release the resume accelerate switch. Again, the LED should light each time the switch is pressed and go out when it's released. Press and release the brake. The LED should light up each time the brake is pressed and go out when it's released. If so, proceed with testing the vehicle speed sensor, or the VSS. A second person is required to check visual status of the LED. Push the car at least 3 feet forward or backward. LED should flash at least once. Or test the auxiliary speed sensor or signal generator. Here again, a second person is required to check the visual status of the LED. One drive wheel needs to be jacked up, taking care to use a support stand for safety. Spin the wheel by hand as fast as you can. The LED should flash. If the LED does not light up when the test is performed and go out when completed, refer to your installation guide for possible checks. If all of the previous functions are correct, you will now need to check the tach signal. Turn the cruise control switch and the ignition switch to the off position. Press and hold the resume accelerate slide switch while you turn the ignition switch to the on position and start the engine. Now release the resume accelerate slide switch. The diagnostics LED should be flashing. Rev the engine. The LED should flash faster at higher RPMs. If it does not, check steps to entering the diagnostic mode and try again. If this still does not work, refer to your installation guide for possible checks. Be sure to road test your cruise control system after installation. If installed properly, your Ultra Cruise 2 should perform as indicated by your operating instructions using your cruise control switch. And that's all there is to it. You've now successfully installed your Ultra Cruise 2. For complete warranty information, please refer to the warranty information inside the kit. We strive to provide you with the best technical support in the industry. But prior to contacting our technical service department, please be familiar with your installation manual, technical information guide, and have completed the self-diagnostics on the unit. If you are still unable to solve the problem, please feel free to contact the technical service department at 910-277-1828 or fax your request to 910-276-3759. The technical service department operates 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Thank you for purchasing the Ultra Cruise 2. We hope that this video has been helpful in making your installation a little easier, because with the Ultra Cruise 2, we know that your driving will be.